Well, it's been a couple of interesting days for me. Monday, I started out pretty good. I ended up having the teeth taken care of. The crowns are now on. No problems on the left side of my face. Finally, this is the first time in a couple of years that my jaw has worked perfectly. It's a great feeling. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have issues with teeth or your jaw, get it looked at because it is very gratifying. It's a lot better to go through the temporary pain of root canals and whatnot than deal with the pain that I did. Even hospitalization for a week and a half or something like that. That's what I was in the hospital when this swelled up. Yesterday, started to get a bit of pink eye. Saw the doctor. Doctor says it just looks like it's a little bit of irritation. There's no nothing associated with conjunctivitis. The tearing up, nothing. It was just pink. It looked annoyed, I guess you could say, aggravated. So thankfully that started to go away. As you can see, it was really bad yesterday. It was borderline, holy mother of God. When I looked into the mirror, it was like, ooh, it's not good. That's part of why I went to see an optometrist, and they ended up sending me to the ER just to make sure, because the optometrist wasn't sure, but hey, that's cool. And then last night, my friend Devin has finally proposed to his girlfriend of 12 years. Took him long enough. And Devin, being a former corpsman, and myself, we decided to go out and do what we normally do when good news like this happens. Getting some alcohol-related incidents. Not really. We decided to go hit up the bars. We did a bit of drinking for an hour or two, shot the shit. And as we were coming out, there was a mugging taking place about 20 feet to the right of us. Now, Devin and I, being who we are and being slightly inebriated, we decided to get involved and try and stop that. Well, I did, at least. Devin was like, I don't even know what's going on, whatever. It was two guys. The first one was going after a woman's purse. I told him to back off, pushed him away, and his friend came up behind me, gave me a shot to the back of the head. Good shot, I'm not going to lie. It dazed me for half a second, maybe a second. The response that I gave him was a shot to the nuts, because apparently when I went to give a rear kick and aim for his gut, I hit his nuts. Oh well, I don't even feel sorry for that. He dropped. No real damage to me. It was a little painful. I got hit right at the base of the skull back there. So, Jeremy, I do understand what you felt. A little better. Doesn't make you any less of a bitch. But I digress. They have been booked. I believe they were arraigned and they pled guilty, because I haven't heard back from the cops. And there you go. The woman was fine. And everybody's good. No real damage to me, nothing to Devin, nothing to the woman. The final thing I do want to talk about is my intention for the channel. I am coming up to the point where I'm going to be moving. Need to figure out what I'm doing, but until then, I'm going to be splitting the channel. What I'm going to be doing is keeping the gaming and entertainment related news and videos on this channel. And I am going to look at putting more political videos on a separate channel. So, for example, the Jessica Price scenario, I guess you could say the saga, the initial reporting, because she was fired from a video game company, that would remain on this channel. But the subsequent stories, even though it was very much entertainment related, would go on the second channel. And the reason for this is because I want to take the more political stuff, the more fighting against the culture warriors and the like. I want to put that on a different channel so as not to detract from this, what I'm trying to do on this channel, which is go over the video game news and the like, give my take, give my opinion, read stories, stuff like that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to migrate the old videos over. I might not. I don't know. I need to take a couple of days to think on that. But I'm going to be going into this story about EA, the Belgian government, and loot boxes. I know I'm about a week and a half late to this. I was doing a little more research in the middle of considering if I wanted to talk about this, and I do. Now, EA, obviously, they do loot boxes in a lot of their games. Most companies do this. We see this with Blizzard and Overwatch. We see this with Destiny 2. We see this with Dota 2, with CSGO, etc. The loot box concept is nothing new. It's actually kind of frowned upon. A lot of people are not very happy with the concept of microtransactions. Sure, they're purely cosmetic for the most part. I can't think of any game that you pay for that puts in microtransactions that dramatically impact the game. I think it was Activision was trying to patent some type of technology or something that would kind of push you towards paying money for weapons and the like in Battlefield. Or Call of Duty rather. I can't remember what it was, but that's neither here nor there. So EA reportedly under criminal investigation in Belgium due to FIFA's loot boxes. Now, keep in mind, late last year, the Netherlands and Belgium were in this whole row about, are loot boxes gambling? Should they fall under the gambling laws within their respective countries? Japan, South Korea especially, they're very, very tough on gambling. This is actually part of why EVE Online, CCP, cut down when the alpha accounts were coming out in 2016, I think it was. They shut off the third-party gambling sites like Somer Blank and I Want ISK. So a lot of these countries are starting to actually focus on taking this seriously, and it's because a lot of these cosmetics are really, really popular. They make your character look cooler, stuff like that. And a lot of companies will actually give you the ability to purchase a specific costume for a specific amount. Within Dota 2, for example, people might sell the costumes they get out of their loot boxes that they don't want, that you can purchase for real money. But other than that, there's really nothing up until this point, there's really been nothing going along or trying to curb these games of chance, which is what they are. China actually, I believe in 2014, made a law requiring that the video game companies running games in China, if they had some kind of loot box system, they had to place on their website the chance of getting specific items within those loot boxes. So a lot of countries have been taking this seriously. Some of them are still trying to catch up. Belgium and the Netherlands have kind of taken the forefront within the Western hemisphere on this. Now, also, please keep in mind, late last year, Battlefront 2's loot boxes came under Belgium and the Netherlands especially were looking at the Battlefront 2 loot boxes. EA's response was, these aren't games of chance. You know how many items you're going to get in the loot boxes, and you can't trade it for real money, so it's not gambling. That doesn't really hold water because you can pay real money for more of these, and you can get duplicates. That's where the games of chance come in. The Belgian government, which declared loot boxes to be a form of gambling earlier this year, April, has reportedly launched a criminal investigation into Electronic Arts after the publisher refused to modify FIFA's randomized card pack loot boxes in order to comply with the country's gambling laws. Back in April, Belgium's Gaming Commission determined that loot boxes found in FIFA 18, Overwatch, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive were an illegal game of chance and thus subject to Belgian gambling laws. Failure to adhere to these laws, which include ensuring that minors are unable to access the gambling elements within a game, is illegal. Following the ruling, Blizzard, Valve, and 2K Games all elected to disable loot boxes in their games in Belgium. Just one side note, Valve did not disable the loot box system within their game. They simply made it so that the game, you can't trade or sell any items you get from them if you live in those countries. Obviously, this doesn't work with VPNs, which are hugely prevalent, but they did not actually turn off the loot box system within their games, especially Dota 2. EA, however, has done nothing, and as a result, according to Belgian publication Metro via Google Translate, is now the subject of a criminal investigation by the Brussels Public Prosecutor's Office. If it decides to prosecute, the case will go to court. The Belgian government's gaming commission considers loot boxes to be a game of chance because players don't know exactly which items a box may contain when purchasing it. EA, however, says otherwise, stating in April that its games were, quote, developed and implemented ethically and lawfully around the world, unquote, and that it did not agree with its games, or that its games could be considered any form of gambling. This, said EA CEO Andrew Wilson in May, is because players always receive a specified number of items in each pack, and because it doesn't provide or authorize any way to cash out or sell items or virtual currency for real money. Now, here's the issue. They don't give you a way to cash out or sell items. Valve doesn't either. The third-party websites are how it happens. They trade to these people who pay real money for your skins and the like. This is why the CSGO Lotto scam was so huge. It was essentially gambling. It was gambling. And that's why Washington State especially came down on Valve's ass, because these sites had access to the Valve API. They were able to scam people out of their skins, and they were able to scam other players out of their money, which was incredibly unethical. Now, if they turn off the trading feature, I don't think it's really going to help either. Once again, VPNs are very, very prevalent within, pick a country, especially with the EU just passing Title 11 and Title 13, was it? Article 11 and Article 13, excuse me. I think VPNs especially are going to become pretty common within the European theater. And the other issue is that a lot of these people are, you don't know how old many of these people are. They can lie about their age. There's really no way to verify the age without saying, hey, we want you to fax us proof of who you are. And once again, that doesn't actually do anything, because how do you know who they are? Have you taken a screenshot of their, their face or whatnot? You really can't do that. So once again, Valve is still in the legal proceedings concerning the use of the API for websites like CSGO Lotto, which came to a head last year when T Martin and Pro Syndicate were pretty much fined for everything. CCP, when they brought the alpha accounts out, they also shut down the third-party websites like I Want Is Consumable Inc. because they wanted to get ahead of any legal ruling that might happen. Now, it's not like the CEO of EA is going to go to prison if he ever sets foot in a country that has an extradition treaty with Belgium. What's going to happen is there are going to be pretty hefty fines levied on the company itself, and probably some prevention of sales of their product within the country until they pay off the fines and they are within code, I guess you could say, when they're actually doing what is expected of them. Now, I fully expect EA will try to get the State Department involved and whatnot. I'm not sure if the State Department would get involved. It's one of those things where they just may say, this is so stupid. It's not like you're facing jail time or anything like that. And this is an absolutely legitimate reason for the Belgian government to get involved. Once again, FIFA, EA does not check age, doesn't make sure that people are over the age of majority. They really can't. I mean, I still get, despite logging into my Steam account, when I go to look at games, it'll still ask me, what's your age, if I'm not, or if I'm looking at something like Doom or something like that, it'll still ask me, despite the fact that it knows that my exact birth date, I put it in. Maybe it's just verifying that that's the birth date, that I'm not lying about it. I don't know. But at the end of the day, these companies do not know the age of the people that are taking part in it. And that's why the governments are coming down on EA, Activision, 2K, etc. And it's going to be like this for a while. So EA, trying to say, no, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing better than you do. We know what's good for our players, our customers better than the government does. It's not going to work. They have to know that. They have to. No company that I know of has been able to fight something like this and win. So EA is going to be told, you do what we say or you're done selling in our country. And Belgium is going to be a deal breaker for many of the European Union. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to the EU Parliament, and the EU starts passing laws like this. And then what's EA going to do? Try to weasel the way out of it? No. Europe is a huge market for them, just like the United States is, just like China is. And they're not going to do anything that could upset that if enough countries are saying you need to do what we say. Kind of sucks running an international business now, doesn't it? All these laws you have to know about. Kind of sucks, doesn't it? Well, I'm glad I'm in the United States. I fall under U.S. law, and if YouTube doesn't like, if my video upsets someone in Britain, France, or wherever, oh well, I'll survive. Maybe they'll just stop running it in that country. I don't know, but that's my take. EA is going to be told to do what we say or you're done, and EA will do what they're told. There's no way around it. EA is just trying to be a petulant child and get their way at the end of the day. And it's not really going to work, but this is what we've come to expect from many of these AAA publishers that think that they now own the gaming industry, ignoring, for the most part, many of these small companies like Grinding Gear Games, these small indie studios that are coming up, putting out a quality product, and they're starting to gain traction.